Thank you so much. Thank you so much for honoring us tonight. Tonight, I'm honored to speak on behalf of the All-American Redheads. I would like to start by thanking the Naismith Memorial Basketball Hall of Fame for bestowing such a prestigious honor on such a special group of men and women. I would like to congratulate the class of 2002, who are too numerous to call out by name, but we are thrilled to join you and the rest of the Hall of Fame family. A special thanks to John DeLeva and his staff, who are Hall of Famers in my book any day. Wow, just think, the first women's basketball team to be inducted into the Naismith Hall of Fame. Where do you start when you begin summing up a journey that began more than 75 years ago and involved a collaboration, dedication, and teamwork of so many? Before I get ahead of myself, let me introduce myself. My name is Tammy Moore Harrison, and I'm the daughter of Orwell and Laureen Moore. My parents owned and operated the All-American Redheads for 30 years. My dad coached and my mother played. Yes, he was a great coach. But as might be the case in many families, my mom was the real star. She ended up being the all-time leading scorer for the Redheads, over 35,000 points. Can you imagine that? I'm telling you, Kareem, you have nothing on my mom. If I had to guess where my parents would want me to start to begin honoring people, I would think they would want me to start with Ole and Doyle Olsen, the original owners. But first, allow me to indulge you for a moment, if you will. I would like to take you back to 1936 America, a time of dust bowls, depression, unease, and all the while basketball. A game simple in many ways. You need a ball and a hoop. Oh, you need the opportunity to play, of course. During this time, the opportunities for women were incredibly limited. It was considered socially unacceptable and physically impossible to run up and down the floor, to sweat, and to compete. The woman's place was in the home. Ralph? Not on the basketball court. Of course, there was exceptions. Women rejected the notion that basketball was a man's domain from the very beginning, and women always worked as nurses, teachers, and hairdressers. Which brings me again to the All-American Redheads. It was widely viewed that a woman's body could not withstand the stress that such an activity was and would pose such serious consequences. Against all odds, in 1936, the Olsens created the All-American Redheads. Some of you are probably wondering, what's with the red hair? Mrs. Olsen was a hairdresser. Mr. Olsen was a gimmick man from the beginning. Do you know that Ole was the first man to throw a behind-the-back pass? So Magic, where's he? Kareem had nothing on my mom, but you might just owe Ole a high five for all those magical passes you threw. Olsen loved the spotlight, so when he started his Redheads, he wanted them to stand out. He dressed his fireballs in shiny uniforms, taught the girls all the tricks in the book, dyed their hair red, and oh yes, he scheduled their games against men's teams. We all owe a debt of gratitude to the name Olsen. Ole and Dull broke the ice and gave women a future in sports. To all the men and women, players and coaches, and family members who were bold enough to challenge that status quo and play basketball, this honor is for you. Without taking that monumental first step, women's basketball would not be where the game is today, and we would not be here to accept this honor. My next acknowledgement is very special to me because it is my parents. I will try not to get emotional, but please forgive me if I cannot remember life without the Redheads in it, nor would I want to. My father was Orwell Redmore, and his wife, my mother, Laureen, dedicated their lives to the Redheads and their families. Thank you both for promoting, loving, living, and respecting the game of basketball. Thank you for providing a passion with a combination of good business sense that tore the roof off the limitations. The Redheads thrilled the fans with fancy passes, crazy ball handling, deceptive play patterns, clever ruses, amusing routines, and great basketball. Demands for the team were so plentiful that some years there were 2 to 3 teams traveling the United States. The All-American Redheads broke the mold, and a number of these men and women are here on the stage joining me tonight. I would also like to thank John Molina, who believed in Coach Moore's dream and helped educate others and promote his dream. Thank you for being a friend and keeping his hopes and dreams alive. Also, a thanks to Matt Zeising. Thank you for preserving, in writing, the legacy of the All-American Redheads. My father never gave up on the idea that the All-American Redheads would someday reach his goal of being enshrined into the Naismith Hall of Fame. He knew this was the definitive honor in the game of basketball. And we thank you for recognizing the work of the All-American Redheads and for celebrating our part in the great game of basketball. Thank you, and may God bless.